Hi everyone, this is my video about what's wrong with Andy Muschietti's The Flash. I'm just saying that because I see it referred to that way a lot, and it's like, he's not John Carpenter. Like, why do you say it like that? Everyone else would just say, like, they don't say whoever the name of directed Blue Beetle, they don't say that person's name. But anyway, so I just finished watching it as part of Amazon Prime. I didn't pay for it. And it was a very weird experience. So I watched all of the reviews when it first came out, like last summer. And the reviews, even especially with channels that were very like against SJW type of stuff in movies, they all basically said like it's okay. Just has a few cringe parts and some bad special effects. And I was like, that's such a weird review, especially from them. And I just finished it, and it's okay. Just a few cringe parts and some bad special effects is also my review. So, the main thing about this movie is that it has, you think, like current or recent MCU has terrible humor. This does not even have a 1% success rate on the humor. It is terrible. It is constant. There is almost no respite from it. And even when it briefly stops, it will then go to be a dramatic scene, and you're supposed to care about someone who has literally been acting like the Tasmanian devil. Like he's a cartoon. I don't care about this person. I'm not worried about them. I don't consider them to be a person. This is just a really annoying performance. So The Flash is essentially a very simple for normies adaptation of Jeff Johns' Flashpoint storyline. And in that regard, I thought it was fine. I thought most of the action scenes were good. It had a good pace. It looked expensive. Like you go to the Batcave and you really get to see the Batcave, like all of it. You go to some prison in Russia and you see every single part of that prison, the exterior. You see all the mechanisms for the prison for Supergirl, and it just looks really good. Um, but it has huge problems. It has Ezra Miller at his most annoying times two. Um, so they have him at, I think I read in the script he's supposed to be like mid 20s, but it seems like he's around 30. So they have current day Barry Allen, and then they have him when he's like a freshman or something in college. The problem with that college Barry is he doesn't act like he's in college or high school. He acts like he's a toddler. His every reaction is to scream at the top of his lungs or giggle maniacally. Like there's no sort of actual human personality until like way at the end where he acts like a person briefly. And then it almost feels like, oh, here's another Barry Allen who's like in college, but he talks like a person and he has like regular emotions. The jokes are awful. Every single one of them is predictable. They're all written backwards. Like the screenwriter, oh God, look her up and look at her career. Oh my gosh. So it'll start with a punchline that's terrible. Someone is told like pass, and then they say pass what? Pass the salt? But they were just asked to participate in something. So obviously you would know when they say pass, it means like there's no like written backwards. Just every like and it's like that for 2.5 hours. Well, maybe 2 hours. Between the current Barry and the college Barry, current Barry is mugging and acting like a cartoon character about a third of the time. College Barry about 2/3 of the time. So you have two flashes but between them, you have the equivalent of one mugging and screaming or giggling for an entire performance. It is cloying at best, infuriating for most of it. And I'm telling you, it does not even have a single percentage point of success on the jokes. The basic structure, the basic plot, the sets, the costumes, special effects. I know this got savaged for the special effects, but I thought the special effects were good in basically all the scenes. Yeah, I know there can be a shot here or there that doesn't work. In all of the scenes that are not set in, they have this location. I forget. I think they gave a term to it, but I'm just going to call it the multiversal amphitheater. You've seen it in the trailers. They have like an amphitheater, and it'll have variations of events. And then at one point, you get other timelines that are personified as like globes crashing into this amphitheater. And everyone that isn't like real Barry from college and current year, they look like really bad characters from a video game, from a while ago. I don't think those characters, which were actually avatars, they were just snapshots of moments in time. I don't think they were supposed to look 100% photorealistic because they were just markers. They were just like, oh, see, this happens. So if you kind of go there, you will go to that point in that timeline. It's kind of like looking at a crosswalk sign and saying, like, oh, the man on that sign doesn't look like a real man. That is my interpretation of it. And also, if you think about the amphitheater and then the globes, I don't think that was supposed to be a literal place. I think that was supposed to be how the Speed Force interpreted things that could not be seen or comprehended by a human brain, and they just made it like kind of like a simple visual analogy, essentially. Again, I just want to emphasize how bad the humor was, how much it was written from a stupid punchline backwards. They made bacon jokes in a 2023 movie. They had like bacon. That is like some like Obama just got elected era humor from like 15 years ago. And you're going to have, oh my gosh, bacon, am I right? Like I know this movie had a very long development process and a lot of false starts. And I remember they were saying like, oh, this movie was originally supposed to come out 5 years ago. Well, even 5 years prior, it still would have been using. It was that whole thing from like, do you remember the phrase adorkable? Like these grown men, of course, they get nervous talking to any woman, but like they can't do anything. Like they go through a door. It feels like the plot, the script itself was fairly middle of the road. And it feels like before every single shot, at least for the scenes for like the first hour and a half, Ezra Miller said, wouldn't it be funny if? And then the if was like never something funny. Like there are scenes where he just has to like walk across the street and he's doing like this, it's almost like an Ace Ventura type of thing. Everyone's seen the scenes where he's running funny, but like he'll try to like open a door funny and just like, I think he thinks he's like Michael Richards during Seinfeld, like, I can make anything funny. I can open an envelope, like, and it's never funny. And it never seems like, okay, he's running funny, he's walking funny, oh, he opened the door funny. None of these are jokes. None of this is even amusing. And I think it is because at the time he wasn't a huge star, but he was very well protected with essentially social justice. I always thought Ezra Miller was like mixed, like half Jewish, half Asian. But in this one, he's half Latino. His mom is Hispanic. And it's like, I think Ezra Miller, he was protected because people were like, oh, he's uh, kind of ethnic, maybe. He's a they, them. He always says he's like, I don't know, he implies he's LGBT. So I think people at the time were really, really scared to ever tell him, like, fucking stop it. Like, everything you do is stupid. It's not funny, and it ruins the few dramatic scenes because you've been acting like a cartoon character for the last hour and a half. Batman was excellent. He was in way more of this movie than I thought. I thought he was going to be in like 5 minutes. It was really great. Just a sidebar. If anyone ever wonders why Michael Keaton's skin is so bad, it's because, and he's actually talked about this in interviews. It's very distracting because they do this, like they zoom in on his face and he's like, "Yeah, I'm Batman." But like you're seeing wrinkles on like every surface of his face, not just like, the line from the nostril to the corner of the mouth or obviously forehead, but like he has wrinkles on like the flat surfaces of his skin that don't really bend or crease. So he did an interview. He actually talked about it one time for several years when his career wasn't doing so great. He bought a ranch in like Wyoming or something, and he would actually tend the ranch. So he said basically he has like a decade's worth of wind burn damage to his face. So if you've ever wondered why he is just so like and very oddly wrinkled, like he has the skin of like a 100-year-old woman. It's because of that. But other than that, he's good. Yeah, he gets caught up in some dumb, silly Billy humor in the first scene with the spaghetti. But after that, good, solid stuff. Yeah, sometimes the stuntman or the 3D computer version of him doesn't match with how he actually moves, but overall, good. Supergirl was excellent. That actress was like treating this like it was like a good movie, like an overall good movie. So every scene she was in was amazing. And shockingly, one of the story points is a timeline that has Supergirl instead of Superman. She can't beat Zod, and the entire everyone is just dead on planet Earth. So overall, I mean, it's got some really fun stuff. It looks great. They have some good characters, but I mean, Ezra Miller is just awful. Just you've never just been so bothered by anyone. And it's two of him. I have to say though, however they made it look like there were two of him in the same scene all the time and not just like the Parent Trap where one is on like one side of the screen and one is on the other, like interacting, carrying each other, like pushing each other. However they did that was amazing. That was flawless. But I mean, to recommend it or not, it's it's more of a curiosity than anything else. I think especially if you really like the DCEU, and I think technically, or was it Blue Beetle was like the last of that era. But yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one. It could have been salvaged. All they needed was like not even rewriting the script, just rewriting the jokes, or just say like just cross them out and say, Ezra, you just walk across the street and you open the door and you enter a courtroom. We don't need you. Oh, the door slammed and everyone's staring at me. And I was like, ooh. You don't need any of that. This is a serious scene. This is the emotional, what is it, through line of the script with your dad being falsely accused. You don't need to be chomping on a hot dog, and not even like eating a hot dog, like pack it all into the side of your mouth so it's like sticks out. Like everything doesn't have to be funny because you're not funny. Like you are not good at comedy. And this isn't comedy. This is just like, oh, I'm going to open the door silly and then the door is going to slam silly and I'm going to be eating a hot dog and then I'm going to be all flustered. Aren't I so adorkable? Bacon, am I right? No, you're wrong. That's terrible. But yeah, overall, I mean, you can't have a lead be terrible and say it still works. It's the lead. It's technically the co-leads because he plays two characters at one point three. I like that. dark, spiky flash. That was actually really cool how they worked that in there. But all you needed was a different lead actor and like a last minute polish on the dialogue that just either takes out all the jokes or replaces them with even okay jokes would have been fine. I mean, these were like terrible jokes. Like, oh, in this timeline, Eric Stoltz was in Back to the Future. And it's like, ha ha ha. And it's like, oh, this one hipster has a tattoo of him on his thigh, but it's not, and he calls it Marty McThigh, but it's not on his thigh, it's on his calf. What the fuck? I mean, maybe with better timing, that Marty McThigh tattoo would have worked, but like, no, just just cross that out. You don't have to do that. It was not additive, as they say. It was subtractive. So anyway, I can't really recommend it to anyone except for if you are a completist for watching DCEU or you just want to watch it as a curiosity. Even though there are good parts to it, it is infuriating in more parts than it is good. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.